Hey, welcome to the next episode of Pack Up Your Business. So, I want to talk today. I'm recording this on Boxing Day, and it's the day after Christmas Day. And where I'm living at the moment in Singapore, this is not a public holiday as it is in some places. This is a work day. So, I just wanted to talk about really the getting into routines and how routines and habits can help you to maintain consistency in your business. And sometimes in a day like today, if it's a holiday and some people are off and you don't feel like working, how do you get over that? And how do you start to really put your ideas together and plan your business? So I think this time of year, coming towards the end of the year, is a great place to plan what you're going to do for next year. So I have actually blocked off the whole of this week to plan my business for 2025. And I've got loads of things in the pipeline that I'm working on. But it's a case of this week just getting it straight in my head and then down on paper what it is that I'm going to be doing. When am I going to be launching what? When am I going to be releasing what? What has to be done at each stage during the weeks and months ahead to make those things happen. And so it's really good if you can plan that out. And as I say, just get it out of your head, because if it's in your head, it's not going to get done. Get it out onto paper, onto a computer, and look at what I find helpful is looking at your long-term goals. So if you what you want to achieve by the end of the year, for example, and not just what you want to do in the next month, just map out the whole year. And then what you want to do is make sure that every week you are doing something that's going to get you to your year goal, right? Don't just focus on your short term goals of the next week or the next month. Because what tends to happen there, and I've been guilty of this myself, what tends to happen is when you prioritize all your short term goals so that you're trying to meet the goals you set for this week and this month, then if you don't have time, things don't go so well and you don't have time to do the longer term action goals, they tend to be put to one side. And you think, okay, that's for the end of the year. I don't have to do that now, right? But if you leave all of your actions till the end of the year, you're not going to meet your end of year goal, right? So what you need to be doing each week is a mix of your short term, your medium, and your long term goals. And do not sacrifice your long term goals in order to meet your short term goals. All of them are equally important and treat them as so. Okay, that will actually help you to get your long term goals. I was guilty of this until I came across some software that actually made sure that was planned in for me. And then I realized the importance of, okay, you need to stick to your long term goals and you need to fit them into your week no matter what. And you need to make sure that there are tasks for the longer term vision in your weekly goals. Every single week, do something that takes you to your long term goal. Don't just focus on short term. All right. So I hope that helps in terms of making sure that you're getting the right things into your diary to plan or into your calendar, onto your calendar to plan the rest of the year. And then in terms of how do you then get it done? That's another thing. It's all well and good planning. And I'm sure we're all guilty of this at some point. It sounds great. It looks great on paper. And you're thinking, yeah, I got it all planned. But then if you don't actually execute, don't actually do it, then it's not actually worth actually that exercise at all of planning it out. So you got to make sure it actually happens. So how do you stick to your goals? How do you stick to getting the things done? So what I do on that is I make sure that all of my tasks that I've got planned for the next week and the next month, they go onto my calendar. They go onto my Google Calendar and they're there and they're visible each day as I'm going through my calendar. And my rule of thumb really is if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. And I found since I've started to use this method and I plan out every single thing on the calendar, and it's not just I record it on the calendar as a task to do in that day. I actually allocate the time and block off the time in my calendar to do that task so that every single minute really of the day is accounted for on my calendar. some people look at my calendar and they freak out and they go, oh my God, how can you cope with all of this? But actually, if you account for every 5 minutes of your day and you've got your whole calendar planned out in advance, a week in advance, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing, the likelihood of you actually doing it goes up by so much. It just goes up exponentially. If you haven't got things planned and you've just got things stuck in your head and you're thinking, yeah, I'll get round and I'll do that at some point this week, or some point this week turns to some point next week, and so on and so on, and it just doesn't get done. So if you allocate time in your calendar to get things done, and then you actually do it at the time that you say you're going to do it, then it's more likely you're going to get things done. And then another tip I would give you on that is we tend to, a lot of the times, we tend to underestimate the length of time it takes to do something. So whatever time you give yourself to do something, then times that by 3, right? And then you can adjust as you go along. If you find that you were quite accurate at guessing how long something would take, then you know that you can adjust that. But to start off with, times the amount of time you think it's going to take you to do by 3 and block off that 3 times the time into your calendar. And then what you also want to do is block off what I call buffer times. So you want to create some buffers in the day where you haven't got anything planned, but it's still marked out as a section of your day, but it's just marked out as buffer time. So I usually allocate about 2 hours every day, 1 to 2 hours, where I have buffer time so that if something goes wrong during the day or somebody springs something on me and it needs to be done urgently, then I know that I can use that buffer time to do it and it won't affect the rest of the tasks I've already got set up for the day. And then when your buffer time is taken as well, then you know that if somebody asks you to do something, you can quite legitimately say, I'm sorry, I literally don't have time to do this. My whole time is planned for today. I don't have the time. Or if you're already doing something for somebody that you know that you're doing for that day, you can say, well, I've got this on that I'm doing for you today. Do you want me to substitute it with this new thing? So that people become very aware that your time is valuable and that you've blocked off and you've planned your time, and they should respect the fact that you've done that. And then you'll find that you're not running around like a headless chicken. You're not saying yes to everything in the hope that you can fill it out. I was so guilty of this in the past. You don't want to do that. You want to plan and be kind to yourself and block out time for yourself as well. And just make sure that you don't completely cram things into your day and you don't have time to relax. Make sure you get time to have a break, like the coffee break that I'm doing here. Just make sure that you have time to do these things where you've got things planned and it's not a rush, and you just be kind to yourself. But I promise you, if you start to plan this out on your calendar and you make this a weekly thing where you plan everything out at the beginning of the week, I usually do it on a Sunday. You plan it out so you know exactly what you're doing for every single minute of the day in the next week, then you're more likely to be highly productive and you'll get things done that you didn't think you were going to do otherwise. And then just test it as well. If you think you're doubting that this works, then go back to, okay, let me just wing it and I won't plan anything. I'll just do things as they come. You'll find that you're not as productive. A lot of things don't get done. So try to plan things out as much as you can. Stick to a calendar and just stick to the belief that if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. So put it on the calendar. Then I think you'll have a lot more success. So I wish you all the best with planning out your year for the next year, and just make sure as you plan out your weekly, your monthly, your quarterly, and your yearly goals, and make sure that every week when you plan a task, you've got something on there that is going to contribute towards your yearly goal, not just your weekly goal. All right. So I hope that's helped, and all the best for your planning for the week. And if you've liked this and you want to have more tips like this and you want to be more productive in your business, then just subscribe to the channel, click the bell so that you get notified of when I put new things should be every day. If I'm aiming to have a coffee break twice a day, then I should be able to get you a video out at least once every day. And then if you have any requests for particular topics you want me to cover, any questions you've got about how to run your business better or how to start a business, then especially an online business that you can run from anywhere, then I will be happy to cover that content. So do let me know so I can make this channel very personal to you and what you actually want to learn from. All right, see you tomorrow.